What's up, Writing Workshop, and welcome to our first virtual lesson together. I apologize for the lateness of this lesson coming out. I had to massively reshuffle what I wanted to do this week. Ultimately, I ended up taking our tech focus from later this week and moving it till today. So I apologize for kind of the scrambling of lessons that had to happen, but there's some things that I definitely wanted us to do in class, in person this week that I ended up moving to later on. So today's lesson is just all about navigating our Schoology course. Again, we were going to do this anyway later on this week. I just moved it up earlier. Treat today kind of like a tour of our Schoology course. There is an assignment that I want you to get some practice with as well. One thing I like to do on virtual days is encourage you to take a moment to pray. So if you have not already said a prayer for your virtual learning today, please do so. Pause this video, say a quick prayer. Could be for all of your classes, could be just for this one. But I want to make sure we don't neglect spending some time in prayer today. All right, y'all, so I hope you've had a moment to pause and pray. You're watching our Schoology course tour video. I'm going to try to keep it pretty short. I know that you guys are juniors and seniors. You know how to navigate Schoology well. I just want to make sure you know where everything is within our course specifically. You'll notice there is an assignment titled Grammar Pre-Quiz due by the end of tonight. It's a pretty short little quiz, and I don't want you to be afraid of the Q word there. This is an assignment that we'll come back to later on in this semester. So this little pre-quiz just gives me a view of where we're at with some basic grammatical concepts that we're still going to learn, review, and practice again later on anyway. So it just gives me a baseline of where you're at right now. I hope you don't find it too difficult as we get started with it today. Assignment-wise, I've been asking you guys to have a journal ready to use. Obviously, we're not journaling today while we're virtual, but I do want to run our first journal entry during Thursday's lesson. So you do still have another couple of days. If you don't have like a small spiral notebook or a composition book, please have that ready for Thursday's class when we actually begin journaling in class. All right, y'all, so our Schoology course, you'll notice, first of all, our little profile picture thing here is the same writing process poster that is in our classroom that we took a look at last week. Tried to make it as identifiable as possible for you to find our course. In a lot of spots in Schoology, courses are arranged alphabetically, so it's very likely that our class is the last one that shows up on any lists in Schoology because it starts with W. So just keep that in mind. I try to make it as easy to find as possible. I've also coordinated our folder colors to line up with that. So they're largely purple and yellow. I'm not necessarily a Lakers fan, but they are Laker colors, or classic colors there, I should say. Things are arranged by folder. You might be used to having like a course information folder early on. Right now, it just contains my contact info and office hours, a little playlist of just technology help videos that I've thrown into YouTube, and then our syllabus is there as well. I'm always going to keep our current lesson up towards the top. Obviously, we've looked at that already in this video, and then the current week. I will have you know, notice that these are grayed out on mine. I obviously need to make some changes to today or to this week's lessons, so I didn't want you to have access to them until they are done. That's something I'll work on later today. Last week is still up there. Obviously, you can go see what we did in class last week. I moved around everything I needed to there. Otherwise, our folders are arranged by unit, so you can see ahead of time what we're doing unit by unit. If you do click into a folder, you probably won't see much just yet. So I already have all the weeks in there, but they're grayed out for you only because I have a lot of materials to move, dates to shift. There's all kinds of changes I need to make. So as I finish these weeks, I'll make them available so you can see what we're doing ahead of time. My goal is to get about a month ahead of the game, but that's really tough to do with things like snow days and cold days, shifting dates and changing lessons anyway. Once again, our units largely divide up by month. So college application essay, January going into February. These snow days might shift around some of the lessons and push things back a little bit as we move forward. Controversies and Conspiracies essay, that's our research paper. We talked about how that's going to be the longest thing that we write. That one is basically the month of February through most of March. That'll take us to spring break as we prepare our research papers. Analysis essay is the month of April. That is one of the shorter things that we write. Again, editing's a major focus. We'll be done with grammar by the end of that unit. So by then, your essay should be looking really crisp. And then Unit 4, again, just I want to slow down, wind down once we get to the end of the semester. So month of May, we should be able to devote most of our time to just doing little bits of grammar review here and there, revising earlier essays, prepping for that final exam. Again, you can click into these folders if you like. You won't be able to see anything just yet until I can get ahead of the game on planning. You guys know how to access the left-hand side. I don't use updates much in Schoology. You can access your grades on the left-hand side. There's nothing there yet. What's the only other thing I really wanted to focus on big time before we look at our quiz, or pre-quiz, I should say, is the calendar. So far, I've just added in important dates for this semester. You can see them in the upcoming bar, but I like the month view better. So you can kind of see dates that have been blocked off. So like yesterday's day off, I had blocked off so we can see that ahead of time. I'm going to go month by month here. So in February, tentatively, college application essays, I'm thinking we can get them done by Friday the 9th. If I have to move that through the weekend, I don't have a problem with that. But the more time I get to grade, the better. First grading period ends on the 16th. The 19th is a pre-planned teacher work day. It's not even a virtual day for you guys, just a teacher work day. Should be good for prepping grade reports for that week. End of February going into March, parent-teacher conferences on leap year day, actually on the 29th. And then the first is AM conferences. Persuasive research essays, again, we should be able to get those done. That's the controversies and conspiracies one. We should be able to get those done before spring break. That gives me spring break to work through the grading process for our longest essays. Easter is right after spring break this year, so it already feels like we've had a lot of short weeks, and there's a lot more coming up as well. Good Friday, Easter Monday, and then the second grading period ends as well. So that's where we'll be getting into our analysis practice. April doesn't have a whole lot. Yeah, tentatively, our last essays we should be able to finish right at the end of April, so we can devote all of May to review. And then final exams, graduation day, I've got those plotted for you guys at the end of May as well. So as I get lessons done and as I add in more assignments, those will populate this calendar as well. I just wanted you to have kind of the skeleton of what this semester looks like in there too. I have not plugged in like pre-planned virtual days or anything like that. I figure those are easier to talk about as we get closer to them anyway. Let me back up here a little bit and look at our pre-quiz too. All right, so back into our lesson folder. You've taken a little tour of our course. I just want you to know how to navigate our course well. The main assignment type that we will see in Schoology are quizzes. So I want you to get practice with that today as well with our pre-quiz. I'll click into it. All right, so grammar pre-quiz. I won't read all these directions word for word here. It is ACT style. All the quizzing that we do in this class is ACT style, especially to prep our juniors for, what is that, March 12th, I think is the national date, as well as any seniors planning to retake it. In any case, please notice that this quiz just covers some basic grammar rules, spelling, capitalization, and marks, commas, semicolons, things that you've covered in earlier English classes. Notice that you do get multiple attempts on this thing. So if your first attempt isn't great, be aware that you can look at your results, see what you got wrong, try again. You have a couple of attempts on this one. I'm going to click Start New Attempt. Notice that there's a 20-minute timer as well. So 15 questions in 20 minutes is slower than what the ACT would ask of you. It's just to get you some practice with working on a timer a little bit there. And again, you get multiple attempts. So notice you do have underlines right here that tells you what to focus on in the sentence or in the question. Running out of ideas for savage YouTube comments, the boy stuck with the classic, "You're stupid." From there, it gives you different options on what you can select. Again, you want to choose what is most grammatically correct and what's written in what they consider standard written English. I will point out there is an eliminate choices button too. So let's say I know that stupid isn't spelled with 2 O's. I can rule that out visually if that's helpful. Let's say I also know that I can get rid of B. Now I just have to decide between no change, which is always the option for A on these ones, or whether C is the better answer. I'll choose what I think is better, and then move on to the next question. You can click the next button, or you can skip from question to question by clicking on the numbers as well. So let's say I have no idea on question 2. I could flag it even for review, skip it, come back to it later. Again, it will tell me at the end which questions I've flagged that I can take a look at again. Once again, take your time as you work on this thing. You do get multiple attempts, and we'll be looking at it again later on this semester. I mostly just want you to get some practice with quizzing today, because it is the main assignment type that we'll use in Schoology as a class. I've talked enough. I hope to see you guys tomorrow to actually get writing in Writing Workshop. Until then, peace.